Good morning, bear with me. I am trying to do a live on TikTok as well as all these platforms on here. And I thought all I had to do was press live, and I haven't. It needs my date of birth. So bear with me while I put that in and hope that that's all I've got to do. Oh, no, I'm giving up on TikTok. I thought I could do that this morning, but no. So anyway, welcome to my live. That's a great start, isn't it? What a great start to a live, me fiddling about on TikTok. And it's still going. I'm still trying to do it. You can't add TikTok on StreamYard. So StreamYard streams lots of platforms, except TikTok and Instagram. It's now asking me for a selfie. Hilarious. This is hilarious, by the way. Anyway, what am I talking about today? I've got my big cup of tea because I've been running around like an idiot all morning. So good morning, Nancy. Today I wanted to talk to you, and this week, about the mind of a creative. I talk about this on a regular basis, but I wanted to do a deep dive today. I wrote a blog last week. Obviously, I've got my freebie, and you can get that. I've put the link to that. Hang on, I'm just pressing the live. Yeah, it's going live on TikTok as well. Woohoo, I did it. Tech. Hi, good morning, TikTok. I'm actually doing my weekly live on all my social media channels, and I've added TikTok today, so you're going to have to bear with me. And for you on these channels, I'm going to be looking between you and TikTok. Anyway, we can figure the tech out. So for those of you that don't know me, I'm Mandy Nicholson, and I am the Creative Genius Consultant. I'm an artist, I'm an author, I'm a creative retreat owner here in Scotland, and I help creative women to launch, grow, and scale their businesses and make more money. One of the main things, in fact, the main thing that I see in the creative women and the creative people that are in my world is the thoughts that they have, which are so different to those people that are not right-brained, that are not creative. So I've been writing about this, and I've shared this before, and I'll share it again, because each time I share it, you will learn something different. You'll see something different in yourself. You'll be able to acknowledge something different in yourself. So, you know, that thing, that work that you do as a creative that you never think is good enough, that you look at everybody else's and compare yourself to it. Well, when you show your work, that's what every other creative is doing as well. We all have this same traits that run through us. Maybe not all of them, maybe some of them. It depends on what you've done in your life, the journey that you've been on, and the journey that you are still on and going to be on in the future. So I produced this document, and it's all the observations that I have had in the creatives that I work with over the years. So I wanted to run through it today. Now I'm writing a book about this. It's slow going. So this is the PDF. There's a link if you're on all platforms but TikTok. There's a link for it in the descriptor. If you're on TikTok, it's on my website, mandynicholson.co.uk. You can go there, look for the freebies, get Mind of a Creative. Okay, so these are the things that I have noticed. Now, bear in mind, I am autistic myself. My daughter is ADHD and autistic. My son is autistic. I'm not diagnosed, they are. I've self-diagnosed because I see all the traits that they have in me. Guess what? We're all creative. There's a real correlation between being creative and being neurodivergent. Huge connections there. So I'm going to go through this with you and talk you through it. It's a long document. We're going to be about 15, 20 minutes. Then you can go off and get your cuppa and forget about it, or think about it, download it, and actually start to use it to help you build your confidence and understand yourself as a creative. So I'm going to start with your mind. The creative mind literally never slows down. It's non-stop. It's filled with curiosity and ideas. So do you ever feel like, I wish it would just stop? And this is really prevalent in ADHD and on the ASD spectrum, where your mind is just constantly coming up with ideas, things you could be doing instead of what you should be doing or what you were doing. And it never seems to be a break that you get from the thoughts that are going on. You may lie in bed at night and come up with ideas and decisions or things that could happen or should happen or visions or whatever it is. Your mind literally never stops. It can be exhausting, but it's also a source of fun experiences and memorable discussions and huge creative ideas and designs. So instead of seeing that chatter as a negative, flip that. I want you to reframe today and see that as a positive, because in there are some great ideas. I remember once when I was in retail, I was a senior manager in retail. I remember once that we did an exercise where no idea was a bad idea. And people had to come up with the most ridiculous things that they could ever think of. And one of my colleagues came up with topless checkout operators. When you dive into a ridiculous idea, you can actually extract some positives. Why did he say that? He's a man. Why did he say it? He thought that more men would go to that checkout. So instead of topless checkout operators and degrading women, why not put some men's products on that checkout? So that ridiculous idea could be flipped and turned into something that might actually be worth testing and might work in a retail situation. Bear with me when I'm talking a lot. I do need to drink. So point number 2, and there are 35 in here. I might stop if it goes on too long, but I might do all 35. We'll run through some of them fairly quickly. Number 2 is that as a creative or a neurodivergent, you will challenge the status quo. What if? Why not? You're a question asker. I used to call my daughter the why bird, because she just used to ask me questions about everything all the time, because that's exactly what her mind was doing. So if you notice inequality or you notice something that you don't think is right, you will speak up. You will challenge the status quo. Why are we doing that? Is that person being treated like that? I have done this so many times that it's got me in trouble. When I was a senior leader, I would not stand for people not dealing with things, and I would question company policies and procedures to ask why they weren't serving who they should be serving. So you will do that as a creative. This makes people around you feel uncomfortable, okay? The people around you will feel uncomfortable, but it's necessary for us to be able to discover new ways of doing things, to change things that aren't right. Look at what's happening at the minute and what's trending with, the trans community coming out and demanding that we use pronouns that suit them. People are challenging the status quo. And that's how we've evolved as a species, and that's happened right throughout history. Otherwise, we wouldn't have a lot of the gadgets and things that we currently have. So be grateful for the creatives who challenge, the neurodivergents who challenge the status quo. Point number 3 is you will embrace your genius even if others don't. Yeah, you are authentic, not popular. You're not going to dress like everybody else. You're not going to behave like everybody else. It's important to you to be the real you and not contrived. You may have been the rebel, the goth, the hippie, and you will dig your heels in when you're challenged. You want your individuality to be seen and heard. And that's what I absolutely adore about the creative women that I work with, is that I see the real them coming out and them stepping into this persona that they've been masking and feel like they have the ability to go and be all that they are underneath all those layers that society has put on you. Number 4, I'm going to guess if you're creative, you're really going to resonate with this one. Number 4 is you have difficulty staying on task. Yeah, shiny object syndrome is part of your routine. You find yourself chasing the next shiny idea instead of completing the task that you are currently on, because that feels more exciting and interesting than what you're doing. You make big mental leaps to new possibilities and you get bored really, really quickly. This can be beneficial for challenging yourself, but detrimental to your income, ladies and gents, because you often don't allow an idea to consolidate and create revenue consistently before you are off on another project, because that one isn't working yet. And yet that one needed time. So I know that this happens. I see it all the time. Because we are creative, we do get bored. Number 5 on this list, remember, you can get this from our website. It's in the link above on the other sites. You create in cycles. You can go from high and manic to low slumps. Noticing your cycles and adding routine tasks that make a difference to your business when you are in a slump is necessary to survival and business growth. So because when you recognize that you've got this creative cycle, having those to-dos, those jobs that you know have to be done in your business when you're in a low that are just maybe monotonous jobs but need to be done is really, really important. That's how I survive. I'm going to be really honest with you here. That's how I survive. Point number 6 is you need time for your soul. Self-soothing with medication and periods of meditation. Sorry, not medication. I didn't say that. I did not recommend you take medication. Self-soothing with meditation and periods of solitude will recharge you and allow you to recover more quickly. If you don't allow recovery time, the creative flow may move further away. It can seem elusive. We are extroverts, introverts as creatives. We need to retreat and have that solitude on a regular basis in order to heal, in order to feel the creative flow in its full force coming back to us. Number 7 is you need space to create. And this can be such a real physical problem. Environment delivers peak performance. When you are constrained in a small space, you feel trapped and less able to produce good work. This can be frustrating because most creatives need to make do with limited space. Seek out opportunities for additional creative space wherever you can. So one of my clients, Lucy Sheffield, got a caravan on FreeCycle and she made that into a studio because she didn't have enough space in the house. And I love that. She thought outside the box, she used her creativity and she found a way that to have that space that you can just make a mess in and that you can keep your work in and you don't have to put it away because people want to eat dinner or people want to use a room. So it's really important to think outside the box about that. You focus intensely, so you can tune out the world when you are focused on your creation. But if you're interrupted, you are slow to recover. And here's a fact for you. Even a 20-second interruption can knock you off your creative flow for 20 minutes. So, you know, people coming in, seeing if you want to cuppa, kids asking questions, partners asking questions, can be truly devastating in your creative business if you're in flow. So that means you need to think about boundaries. You feel deeply. This is number 9. You feel deeply. You are human expression personified. You will scream at the canvas to create a mere droplet. You are passionate about depicting differences and inequalities in your work, even if that is manifested as merely the contrast between dark and light. This emotion that you have as a creative is so important to your work. Whatever the work is that you are doing, it's so important to your work. And I'm sorry, on TikTok, I'm not answering any. I'll come back to any comments that you've made. It's just that I've got this now going out on 6 platforms. So yeah, and I just kicked the stand. Hello, welcome to the real world. Number 10 is you live on the edge of joy and depression. Your sensitive heart is the source of your genius and your suffering. The phrase an artist suffers for his art is so true. It's this level of deep feeling that allows you to produce your best work. So these are skills. I'm talking to you about skills now that other people may have told you are weaknesses, that you may have felt in life are weaknesses. And actually, I've identified all of these as real skills. Use these differences, use them to be the best version of you. Okay, number 11, I love this. I do this all the time. You think and speak in stories. Yeah, explaining isn't the point. Experience is the point. I'm even doing that with this right now. You're experiencing me reading out a PDF that you can download off my website. But it's so different when you hear it and you hear some of the anecdotes and the stories that go along with it. So why say one word when you can say 100? I did warn you at the start, this might be a long live. People may roll their eyes when you start to talk because they know this could take time, but you paint such a fascinating picture that it's also kind of addictive. Use it. Use that. Use it on your lives. Use it on your videos. Use it to really get your business known. Number 12 is you battle resistance every day. I actually physically see this in my clients when they are having to move things forward that they find uncomfortable. So you've got 2 lives, the life you live and the life you are capable of. And in the middle is resistance. So you are living the life you are living, and you know there's something bigger for you. You know that you are worthy of more and worth more. But when somebody says, in order to do that, you may need to do this, there's real resistance there. I've seen it loads on my creative mastermind when I've said to people, look, your personal Facebook page is really important for your business. And they're like, okay, but I've got it private because I'm really fussy about who I connect with. And I'm like, then how are you really going to get your business out there? Your business is part of your life. So yeah, so there's always a bit of resistance to something that you have a perception of as a creative. So acknowledging that you are battling this resistance and learning to overcome it can be a huge step change for your business, massive step change for your business. Number 13, and I do this all the time, you take your work personally because you are your work. You are your work. So every condemnation is a personal one and it impacts your self-worth. It hurts when someone doesn't like your work. You may hide it well, you may mask it, and you may thank them for the feedback. But you are so connected to the work that you produce, it really does feel like a personal insult. And I don't care whether that's a painting, whether it's something crafted, whether it's stitched or sewn or knitted, whether it's a course you've created or a book you've written, you are going to take it personally because of all these other things, because of your feelings and because of your emotions. So we're up to number 14 now, so I need a drink. I hope you're having a nice morning. I hope you don't mind me reading through this. You can disappear and watch it later if you need to, but I will still be here for a little while. Number 14 is you have a hard time believing in yourself. Even the most apparently confident creatives wonder if they're actually good enough. Imposter syndrome creeps in a lot of the time. You compare yourself to others constantly. Now, I've heard some of the big name coaches say that imposter syndrome isn't real. And I disagree with that. For us creatives, it's very real. And there's an issue there because a lot of the ladies that come to me onto the creative mastermind or the ultimate mastermind have maybe done other courses and other trainings and invested in themselves and got nowhere. Because until somebody gets this creative mind of yours and can work with it and with you, then how are you ever going to move forward? Because you're constantly going to not feel as good as the people around you. That hard time believing in yourself is almost illuminated when you're working in a space where you're not surrounded with people that think the same as you. So point number 15 on this long list of things that I've seen in creatives is you are deeply intuitive, really intuitive. You can't explain why about things sometimes. You just know, like you know that you should be doing this or you should go in this direction. Scientists have actually studied creative people at length. And this is a really common trait. You almost know what people are going to say before they open their mouths. You know what they're going to behave like. You have an ability to notice the minutiae of behavior and body movement and eye movement and make connections. It's an amazing skill, and you might actually not be fully aware of how good you are at this. So it's worth developing. Number 16 is you use procrastination as a tool. Your best work is going to happen under pressure. So you use this sometimes to deliver to deadlines. Your procrastination comes from many of the other traits that distract you from your focus or project. But do you know what else it comes from? The fact that you are brilliant, that you are a genius. I did share something on TikTok yesterday that says creatives are annoying. Really, really good and clever creatives that are fantastic at what they do will maybe take on a project and actually they'll never start it for a few days. They'll not look at it. I think it's John Cleese that said, an average architect will start drawing immediately. A great architect will doodle and take notes and think and drink coffee and take time because they want that idea. And that goes for all creatives. All creatives are like that. So where you've been told that procrastination is a weakness, forget it, flip it. It's a skill. It's a positive. It's a strength. Number 17 is you become addicted to creative flow. Creative flow state may actually be the most addictive state on earth, more so than alcohol and drugs and other things. And you seek it out at every opportunity and you become frustrated when it seems elusive, when you're not in that creative mood. And sometimes you don't know how to get back into it if it's interrupted or life takes over. So being addicted to creative flow can serve you, but it can also cause frustration and anxiety. Be aware of that. Number 18 is you struggle to complete projects. Yes, you do. The joy of the initial creation is more exciting than the monotony of completion. You are easily bored and prefer the start to the finish. You will finish it eventually, in your own pace, at your own time. But do you know what? Again, there's nothing wrong with renegotiating deadlines, folks, because you're a creative. Lean into who you are. Number 19, and I'm only going to go to 20. There's 35 on here. So we'll be here all day. So I'm going to go to 20, and then you can download it if you want the other 15. Number 19 is, and I love this about creatives, I truly love this, you connect the dots better than others, much better. This is why you're so vital in a team and you can be so vital to projects. You see patterns even as words are spoken, and you have the ability to complete a full picture whilst others are still wondering what to do next. Because they'll be running around like idiots. You'll be thinking really deeply and connecting all the dots. You've listened, you've watched, you've taken note. It's a huge skill. When you lean into this and use it, it's transformative in your life and your business and anything else you want to do. And number 20, which is the one I'm going to leave you on today, is that you will never grow up. Life viewed with childlike wonder is the epitome of creativity. Picasso said that he spent 4 years learning to paint like Raphael and a lifetime learning to paint like a child. And I love that about creatives. You will become childlike when you're in creative flow. And this removes some of the barriers that you impose on yourself. Lean into that childlike thinking, lean into that childlike behavior. Sometimes it's great to get your children involved, just because that's so me. Number 20, somebody's saying on Facebook, there's so me. It's so me. It's so every single one of us that are creative. And it's something to love and adore. And I adore it in my children. Like I said, both of my children are on the spectrum. I am on the spectrum. I'm creative. My daughter, Becca, is just about to get a first in a degree in art and design at Newcastle University. Dan has got a HND in illustration and animation. So my kids, both on the spectrum, have used creativity, not only to make sense of the world, but to forge career paths for themselves. They've not been ushered in that direction, I can assure you. I encouraged them to do what they really wanted to do. So understanding the creative mind has helped me be a better mother. Understanding the creative and neurodivergent mind has helped me be a better business owner and create something actually quite spectacular. Sitting in my mini castle here, talking to you on a live, knowing that I've got wonderful women on my creative mastermind, knowing that soon I've got my first retreat of the year. I love my job so much, and I can disappear to my studio, paint if I want to, I can write if I want to in here in my office. Life is good because I imagined it and then I created it. I envisioned it, then I created it. You have that ability. Just nobody ever took you by the hand and said you can do this and you can do it your way. And all of these things are the things that are going to make you stand out. So do download this and have a think about it and maybe set some goals around it. Understanding yourself is everything. The more I've understood myself, the easier I've found it to help others. And that's a real epiphany. Anyway, if you're not already in my group on Facebook, Creative Genius Corner, then come over to Creative Genius Corner. I would love to have you in there. Wherever you're watching from, whichever platform, you can find anything that I talk about on lives on my website, mandynicholson.co.uk. And if you want to look at the retreats and my amazing rooms and spaces that I've created here in my mini castle, go to the artbankdalbeatty.com. But you can access that from the Mandy Nicholson website. Lovely to sit and speak to you all. My tea has now gone cold, so I've been talking for way too long. I will see you the same time, same place next week. And we'll see if this has worked on TikTok and whether I'm going to include TikTok next week. So have an awesome week. Have an awesome day. Have an awesome week. And lean in to that amazing creative power. Bye for now.